Welcome back, everyone. This is Xade. We are back in our vanilla single-player survival world. We are down here, as always, in the cave inverted tower. we need to figure out what this thing really is. Kind of looks like the inside of a tower, but it's, a hole in the ground. Do we call it a hole? We're down in the hole. I don't know. Anyway, today we're just doing little updates, and we're just gonna do some things. Been doing a bit off camera this week. I have had some okay amount of time to play the game, but I haven't had as much time to record. So I've been doing some little things. I've also been doing something on the side. So let's start over here. Lighting. Torches are torches. You can do certain things with them. You can decorate them and things like that, but they only ever get so great. Sometimes you can do things with them and that's cool, but not always. And I also, this whole cave area is spawn proof, right? So we don't actually need lighting. The only reason I have lighting at all is partly for YouTube videos. I don't want it too dark, and also just kind of a mood lighting thing. And so I've been trying to work on a design that will remove the torches, or at least make the torches look good, and also spread lights out just a little bit. So like this hallway here, for example, it is still lit, but it's also got some darkness to it. So you can see like the middle area here isn't really well lit. I couldn't do my light design that I've come up with in this wall because it's only one thick into our storage room. But over here, what I've done is I've taken end rods and we've just dug a two wide, two deep hole, and just an end rod and an end rod with some white stained glass in front of it, and it almost kind of looks like you would think a light with like one of the big fluorescent light bulbs or whatever they are in the back. Kind of cool. I dig it. Let me know what you guys think. I tried to do a similar thing in the ceiling, but I didn't like the fact that it ended up being too wide all the time. Although I guess I tried it this way. Maybe if I did it sideways it wouldn't be as bad. But I also, the glass came down a little bit farther than I liked, and I wasn't sure. Maybe, now I'm tempted. We'll play with that later. Maybe we'll try some ceiling designs too. I just came up with something in my head, but I've got it over here. I did this whole little corner right here, and I just kind of wanted to be able to leave certain things dark, because part of the cool effect of the center over here, this is completely unlit in the middle. The only thing we've got going for lighting is we've got these jack-o'-lanterns that we put in, two wide, it's the two jack-o'-lanterns, so it's a different looking face, and it just adds a glow to the ladder, but it doesn't really light anything. And then we've got the light from the beacon. So when you come in here at night, and maybe we can check this in a few minutes and show it on our way back, but at night it's super dark in here, and then during the day, because we've got all the glass and the leaves and stuff at the entryway, the sun actually shines all the way down. So you can actually tell in this area here, when it's daytime down in the hole, and when it's nighttime down in the hole, which is really cool. And then we have this kind of like dark transitional area, I guess. So when you're leaving the main area, it's daytime or nighttime, and then it's like, oh yeah, but we are underground in a cave. And so we don't want this area too well lit. And in some cases, like here, I've got the lights right up to it, and I don't necessarily like that. I want this outer ring to be fairly dark, just like kind of here where there's like little bits of glow coming in from the side. Over here, we've got like a little bit of light coming out of the storage room and things like that. This is more the feel I want for this outer ring, just bits of light here and there. So we're going to try to tone back the lighting just in this outer circle, and then just a little bit in the hallways immediately off of it. So like these torches right here need to go, and the ones on the other side, kind of like this. And so over here you can see the only lighting here is the little bit coming out of the storage room there, and then the first actual light is here, and that kind of gives us that dark cave feel, but we can still get a little bit of a mood lighting thing going on. And then as we get farther down, you can see the hallway down there is more light. I've got these just closer together, and then I dig this design here. This is something I got Stud Muffin Sam I used to Minecraft with many moons ago on the Too Crafty server, season 1, And he used to love making this little bush shape, but it was before end rods existed, so he would put a fence post right here, and then a couple of varying leaves on top to make this kind of like little shrub looking thing. Really cool interior design trick. And now with the end rods, with certain color backgrounds, especially with this one, it actually looks pretty cool with that. It still kind of looks like a shrub, but it also acts like a light, so it's kind of like hiding lighting right in plain sight, which I think is really nice. So that's what I've got going on here to brighten that up. Another update, big important thing. If we come over to our villager area, you'll notice there are no villagers walking around, and you may have also noticed that the gate over there is gone. We've made some changes. I also dug this area out. I've got the grass down. Moved the beacon for a bit because I'm digging somewhere else. I'll show you that in just a moment. I threw down the glowstone randomly to make this little park area in the center somewhat like this side, and then I came up with those little end rod shrubs, so I think I actually might adjust it and make a combination of the two, hide some lighting in different ways, but as of right now that's enough to light the whole area and keep it spawn proof. So that'll work nice over there. But we need to talk. Where are the villagers? Okay, they're over in their apartment, and I'll show you what I did. But first, let's look at why I did it. One of the villagers despawned. Okay, I don't know that I'll say which one. We don't want to get anybody in trouble. But one of the villagers vanished, and I looked around and I checked all kinds of things, and they were just gone. And so there were two things that could have happened. The first one is zombies, but I don't think it was that. And the second one is an old glitch. So first, the zombies. Zombies are the only mobs that will attack villagers, but all our villagers are named, and so I even went into creative in my creative world, and I messed around just to make sure that the way I thought it worked is really how it worked, and it is. If you have a named villager, and a zombie runs up and kills your villager will turn into a zombie villager, as expected. It keeps its name tag. So if there was a zombie that had spawned, if I missed a dark area or something like that, and he ran around and got the villagers, the first thing is you would think he would have gotten all three of them, and he didn't. He only got one, but it also would have stayed named. So even if it was like two of the villagers were way over there and he was way over there, and he was just hanging out, he wouldn't despawn or anything because he was a named entity, right? So I should have at the very least been able to come in and be like, oops, I have zombie villagers now, let me cure them, everything's great and wonderful. But I don't think that's what happened because he was just gone. He was just gone. And so what I did is I've pulled them in here, and as you can see, they are now all stationary. And that is because of an old glitch in Minecraft, which is my guess as to what happened. So what I've done for now is made them so they can't move. They're all just kind of, and I just tried to make it sort of look like they're in the chair, but they're standing in their minecart or whatever. There's some other options we can take as well. And I just stuck everybody in here, and yeah, everything's cool. And let's talk about why. So what is this glitch? If a villager disappears, which again, we don't want to say who it was, but somebody despawned and disappeared forever. No, not naming names. But let's talk about why that may have happened. So I'm going to go ahead. If you don't know this shortcut, if you hold down F3 and hit the G key, it turns on chunk borders. And all this does is it creates these yellow lines around the edge of a chunk. The game loads in chunks, and it saves every single thing, so that basically creates a portion of a file for this chunk here, this square that we're seeing, and it saves all the data. So this glowstone, where it's placed, is saved inside this chunk's information. If I pick it up and move it, as soon as I pick it up, it'll delete it from the chunk. As soon as I set it back down, it'll replace it in the chunk. Entities are also saved in the chunk. So if we have a villager running around, if he's in here, for example, if we run over here to where our guys are chilling, you can see we're inside a chunk here. It comes in and cuts off right on the edge there. So this guy, Dan here, is actually in a different chunk than Jason and David. They're right on the border right there. And so this chunk here has him saved, And this chunk right here has these two saved. And that's true for any NPC, hostile mobs, things like that, right? So what happens is if an entity is standing on the end of this wall here and it decides to walk like this, as soon as he crosses over, he is immediately deleted from this chunk. The act of walking out of the chunk deletes you from this chunk. However, you do not get added to this chunk until the first tick. Now ticks are very, very quick, so usually there's no issue. But what can happen is the game only loads a certain amount of chunks around the player, and this depends if you're playing on an SMP server. It depends on server settings, and it's different in single player, for example. But it's usually anywhere from 8 to 12 is a pretty common. A lot of SMP servers it's like 8 or 10, something in that range. So if I'm standing here and our server is set to load 8 chunks in every direction, what it means is it's going to load 8 chunks that way, 8 chunks that way, 8 chunks that way, and it's just going to fill that square in, alright? So what happens is if I move far enough away from this chunk right here, it will unload. It'll just go into nothingness and chill there in a saved file until I come close enough to it to load again. So that's what the problem happens is if you say have a villager right here, and I as the player am standing far enough that way that this chunk right here is the last chunk in this direction being loaded. And I start running this direction, okay? And there's a villager or some other entity right here. And at the exact same moment he steps right here, I step just far enough that direction that this chunk unloads and goes into the void. Some people call them lazy chunks. So what happens is the second that villager pops over, he gets deleted from here. And then if I happen to just barely coincidentally at that exact moment go just far enough away that this chunk unloads before the next tick, the villager walks over, gets deleted, a tick never happens, and then the chunk unloads and he gets deleted essentially because this chunk never loads that he entered, but this chunk loads that he left. And so the problem is it's hardly ever going to happen because the chances that a villager goes right there at the exact same moment 8 chunks away or whatever I go right there is extremely unlikely that it happens all within one tick, but it can happen. And when that happens, the villager gets deleted, this chunk unloads, so a tick never happens within this chunk, and he never gets loaded, and he disappears forever. He just gone into the void, right? So the only thing I can think of is that happened. Let's F3G again to get those hidden. That's my guess as to what happened. I honestly couldn't, I went through every other possible scenario I could think of, and it just wasn't happening. And so because of that, yeah, I came up with this idea, and I dig it anyway because now we really can have the different apartments. We can still have their name outside. You can walk in, see who's there, check out all their stuff, but it's a lot easier to tell who belongs where. It's a lot easier to find people. That was one of the other things I'd come over here and it was like there'd be 2 of them and you'd walk around for a minute going, where did the other one go? And they were hanging out way over there and way over there, way over there. And it was just kind of hard to find people when you wanted to check stuff out. So I think this will work just fine, and we'll just kind of incorporate into each new apartment and each new named villager something to this effect where they're in the room but they're trapped in just the right way that they can't exit. And because they'll always be in that same square, we never have to worry about them jumping through a chunk and dying. So I think that's the way to go. And as far as new apartments go, I had kind of been mentioning that I wasn't 100% sure how I wanted to name villagers, and I'd kind of been mentioning just good comments, but I've actually came to a better idea. From now on, what we're going to do is whenever somebody leaves a good comment as a suggestion for our world, if we use that suggestion, we will build them a little apartment and name a villager after them, even if it's indirect. So for example, he actually left a comment, handy dandy here. He left a comment that was just sort of a random thing. He was talking about the Nitwit villagers. He didn't come up with the idea for the Nitwit village, but his comments gave me the idea for the Nitwit village. And so indirectly he gave me that idea, and so we went ahead and used it. So he gets a villager, and that's how the rest of you can get him. So now just a couple quick other little things. We mentioned in the last video we were going to work on the Guardian farm today, and I actually have started on that, but the reason we're not over there is one of the designs I decided to use uses redstone blocks as a way to increase spawn rates, and also it's partly by the way they react to if a solid block is here, it actually blocks certain spawns, whereas transparent blocks like glass, for example, don't. But mobs fall faster in water against solid blocks. As of, I think it was 1.12 is when that change was made. So the problem is if you have glass, you'll get increased spawn from things around it. But if you have solid blocks, the mobs will fall out of the farm faster, allowing for new spawns. So if you have, it's kind of a catch-22. But redstone blocks count as transparent and solid. They're special blocks, and so they actually allow mobs to be pushed quickly out of the farm and allow spawn rates around it. So originally I wasn't going to bother, but then I decided, oh, you know what, I have enough redstone. I counted. I said, I have just enough redstone to build this farm and have a little bit left over to build things. So I did, and then came to realize that when I counted, I forgot to count the outside wall of the Guardian farm. So my choice was either completely rip it down and say, forget it, or to farm more redstone. And I said, you know what, we're halfway in, let's just farm more redstone. But running around with a pick and farming redstone takes forever, and I didn't want to do that right now. So what I decided is, let's make a witch farm. If we go down, there's a tunnel right here. If we go down about, I want to say it's like 100 blocks that way and 200 or 300 blocks that way. If we're above ground and we're looking out, we go over that way to our cows. If you keep going around the corner a couple hundred blocks, there's a witch hut. So we're going to build a witch farm over there. But in order to build a witch farm, I need slime blocks. There's a cool new design that I hadn't seen before. I found it online. It's on the YouTubes. We're going to feature that. That's what we're going to hopefully do in the next episode. But in order to do it, I needed some slime blocks, and I didn't have slime blocks. So we have these two slime chunks right here that I've started to hollow out. I was gonna build a slime farm, and I decided we'll just build a slime farm, then we'll build a witch farm, and then we'll build the Guardian farm. It's just fine. We want them all anyway. I've gotten about this far, digging out the hole so I can build some spawn pads later. But in the process of digging this out, I've gone through my pick a few times already. Oh look, there's a slime right there. I actually have killed enough slimes. It's just sometimes, I'll be up here digging, and then I'll come down. This is an old cave we found. We lit it up a long time ago. I'll come down and there'll be a few big slimes down here, so I'll just kill those. And then I go back up to dig the next layer, and there's a slime or two, and I'll kill those. And just in the process of that, kind of going up and down and killing the slimes that spawned as I did it, I actually have almost twice as much slime as I need to build the witch farm. So what we're going to do is I'll just keep digging that out a bit by bit as we go, and we'll get to that really soon. But I now have enough slime to build the witch farm. So in the next episode, that's what we're going to try to do, is build that new witch farm. Credit where credit's due. We'll have all the links for that, and we'll showcase it and everything. It's a really cool design, and I'm excited to have that witch farm. I can already get glowstone and redstone from our villagers, but glowstone comes in blocks from the priest, so it's a little easier to get. It comes, like this guy's got a trade for 2. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know you can get at least 3. I even want to say it might be 4. So he doesn't have the best trade, but it's blocks at a time, whereas redstone comes in just a few pieces at a time. So yeah, I could farm redstone from these guys, but it would take a long time. And yeah, I can farm glowstone from these guys. Not as bad, but we're going to have lamps and stuff anyway, so I'm not as worried. But the redstone, it takes a while, whereas a witch farm, hey, we'll be loaded in both, so no worries. So we'll get going on that and do some cave lighting off camera, get the slime farm going and stuff like that, and we will be golden. So that's what I've been up to in this world. But I've also been playing Minecraft again on the Too Crafty Vanilla SMP server. Just started back up. What? There's a hole in our shrubs up there. I must have gotten hit by lightning. Let's fix that while we chat. We just started up. So if you followed my channel for a long time, I'm pretty sure those are spruce. If you followed my channel for a long time, you know that I actually was on the Too Crafty server a long time ago. I was actually a founding member of the Too Crafty server. I was on it for the entirety of Season 1. We reset eventually for Season 2 because of a variety of things. And I was on it for most of Season 2, and then it kind of went inactive, and it just kind of wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. So I left for a bit, and then I actually just left YouTube. That's when I started this. I started this world. Which one was that? Right there. Can I get that without jumping in? Fine. Stay right there, Mr. Horse. Got it. Okay. I started this world, been playing in that, and then we took our break from YouTube and everything, and now we're back. And in that time, they kind of did a little bit through Season 2. They did a Season 3, but it was very, very short. Their server crashed and lost everything, which is always pretty sucky, but yeah, life goes on. And now we're trying to reboot the whole thing for Season 4. We've invited some new members. We've got some new excited old members. Activities looking decent so far. And yeah, so I am back, and I just kind of decided, I'm in a different spot in my life now from before anyway. I don't care if a few things are different. So we're back on the Too Crafty SMP server, and so far it's a blast. I have an episode of that out on the channel already. If you didn't see it, I don't know what these holes are from. I don't have any dirt on me though. I bet Enderman is stealing my blocks. I do have an episode out from that, and I am about to record another episode from that. So check out that on my channel if you're into the SMP stuff. I'll have a link to my first video in the end screen, which is probably appearing on the screen right about now. Check those out. It's not really going to change what we do in this world. I only have so much time for Minecraft, of course, but I should hopefully still be able to get out about the same amount of videos here and there, but it might be ever so slightly. So hopefully overall more videos and not too much slower here, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. But that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching this little update video. Next time we will hopefully be building our witch farm. That's the plan, and I will see you all then. Thanks for watching. As always, have a good one. Bye bye.